Tonight, the two-day cleanup that could turn into more. An update on the work to clear the way from a massive snowstorm. A man dead after police gunfire in Brantford.
There was an incident that prompted police to enter the unit, and then there were shots discharged.
The incident that brought officers to this home and left a woman in hospital. Plus, stranded without service.
He's still in bed, and he hasn't had breakfast, he hasn't had his pills.
One couple's story about a critical device and a broken promise. Good evening. There's no exact estimate, but it's going to take more time. That's the message about the cleanup that's underway after this week's massive snowstorm. The job is moving along, but it's not being helped by people ignoring street parking bans. CTV's Jeff Pickle live tonight with the latest. And, you know, Jeff, we should note Kitchener's ban actually lifted now, but some others still in place. Hundreds of tickets handed out last night while crews were trying to clear the snow.
Well, Tony, and there was a lot of snow, as you can see by this mountain of snow behind me. It was a major dumping that we got overnight Wednesday into Thursday. And when we do get that amount of snow, the best thing that we can do is just get out of the way, whether it's driving or parking. A clear street makes it easier to make a clean street, but of course, that's much easier said than done.
After the heavy snowfall yesterday that filled driveways and stopped traffic, it was a long day of spinning tires, slipping feet, and crews trying to catch up.
They've done a good job of removing the snow because the snowbanks aren't too bad, but this parking lot we're standing in is pure ice underneath, so got to watch what you're doing.
While some streets and sidewalks are clear, many others were still slick and partly snow-covered.
We can see like the sidewalks are pretty dirty, but that's fine. Like it's quite acceptable at this time.
The driving was very slow, and fortunately people weren't overspeeding because there's still a lot of snow left. And of course in the parking lot here it's impossible. You've got to be very careful just to get to your car.
Across Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge, snow events were declared yesterday.
And this is to ensure that our road crews can continue plowing and clearing, especially in our residential areas.
The message from the cities: no street parking until those declarations are lifted.
The roads are pretty slippery right now as well, so that is also helping with our plow operators. It's pretty challenging operating a plow.
Waterloo bylaw says despite the warning, hundreds of drivers didn't listen.
Snow event was declared yesterday at noon, and municipal enforcement has issued almost 300 tickets in that time.
With more snow expected tonight, crews will be continuing their work to clear the way. And while some see the snow as a chance to take on a challenge, others say it's good to stay away.
I would say don't drive anywhere if you don't have to. And walking is the same problem. I think if you don't need to walk today, I would stay home.
Now, we also asked about the salt supply, because we do know, and we have heard that there is a salt shortage really right across the province. We did hear back that the municipalities do have an adequate amount, but there is some rationing going on, some mixing with sand, so it is possible that some streets and some roads may be a little bit slicker than you may be anticipating. Tony.
Okay, worth noting after a very snowy and cold week. Jeff Pickle live in Kitchener. Jeff, thank you. We're going to take our first look at the weather now, but we're going to do that inside with Ashley Bacon at the Odd. And Ashley, it's Bell Let's Talk night with the Kitchener Rangers.
That's right, Tony. And as you can see, it is getting busy. Doors just open ahead of the puck drop at 7 p.m. Lots of the crowd spilling in here, grabbing some great Bell Let's Talk merch this evening. Is going to be a really important night to talk about mental health, breaking that stigma, and of course, having a conversation around mental health and keeping that conversation going. Earlier today, I spoke with Rich Innes, mental skills coach for the Kitchener Rangers, about what the organization does to keep their team and the community healthy with mental health. Take a listen. Now, of course, with any team in the OHL, mental health is at the forefront of ensuring the team itself is as strong physically as they are mentally. Joining us today is Rich Innes, the mental skills coach for the team. Thank you for being with us today, Rich.
Hey, my pleasure, Ashley.
Tell us a little bit about what the organization does to ensure the strong mental health of each member of the team.
The players, right from day one, are aware that there are facilities available to them and a kind of a lifeline should they have any issues at all. My name is certainly one of the names that is provided for them. Although I'm not a clinical psychologist, I can often be the gateway to better treatment and better facilities, etc. But our coaches are also well trained now. Management for the Kitchener Rangers, very supportive. Make clear messaging to the players and their families of all of the possibilities that are available to them if there is any issue whatsoever.
And let's talk a little bit about, I think a lot of people forget that we're talking about very young men here, between 16 and 20 years old,
Correct.
and the pressures they face. If you could just shed some light on that.
Yeah, I'm sure that, the fans, if they stop and think about it, they're aware that these young lads are under an awful lot of pressure. For some of them, this is such a major stepping stone in what they hope will be a professional career. For others, it's the epitome of what they're going to play as hockey, and so they're trying to, again, do their very best at it. But what we also have to realize, by the time a young lad gets here, his entire, well, I don't want to say entire, but much of his life has been wrapped up in hockey. I like to say all of his esteem eggs are in one basket. His family is hockey-oriented. All his friends are hockey-oriented. He hangs around with his teammates when he's not on the ice. Probably when he's home, he hangs around with other guys that have played hockey. So it's hockey, hockey, hockey. And so if a player like that runs into any emotional or psychological difficulties, it can be very devastating because it kind of, all the eggs crack at the same time, and there's not a lot of other supportive avenues for them. So that for me is the big concern.
Lastly, a message maybe to the fans, the viewers at home about, mental health and what the organization, but also outside of the organization, is available to them.
For our players, you mean?
For the players, it's just the message to the fans who, might be in the stands and might have a thing or two to say about the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you can go kind of lightly on negative comments, I know they appear to be very hardened, but they hear, and they expect it on the road. I can say that, and that probably is not damaging because you expect it when you're a visiting team. But to hear negative comments here at home in the auditorium, I think can be very harmful for a young lad and unnecessary.
Absolutely. Great insight as well. Thank you, Rich, for being here today.
Hey, Ashley, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, let's turn to weather now. Okay, now we're looking at our satellite radar. You can see a band of precipitation is moving over southwestern Ontario at the moment. That's bringing with it around 2 centimeters of snow this evening and around 2 centimeters of snow tomorrow. That's going to continue to push through over the weekend. Now, up in the northern area of Wyerton in southern Georgian Bay, you're going to actually see a little bit more snow. I've got a warning to tell you about in our main weather, but right now in Waterloo region, we're looking at -5 with a south wind of 20 kilometers an hour. So overall, not too bad, Tony, considering that it was just so cold over the last 48 hours. We're going to get a little bit of a break with temperature tomorrow, but I'm going to have more on that. And of course, more on everything that's going here with Bell Let's Talk over the next hour or so. So I can't wait to bring you what we have coming up. And for now, take a look at this crowd. It's incredible. People are coming in and enjoying this fabulous game. Tony.
Yes, puck drop in less than an hour. We'll talk to you again shortly. Thank you, Ash. In Brantford, a man is dead after police gunfire following what was described as a disturbance at a home that left a woman injured. CTV's Karis Mapp now with more on the incident that Ontario's police watchdog is looking into.
I'm a little shocked. This is a fairly safe neighborhood, but my heart goes out to the families involved.
Emergency vehicles lined a Brantford street Friday after a 33-year-old man was shot and killed by police in the early morning hours.
The call came in at about 2:30 a.m. and it was a disturbance at a residence on Palomino Drive.
The Special Investigations Unit saying there was a domestic dispute involving a married couple that brought Brantford police to the scene.
There were some negotiations with a male in the residence, And there were a few hours, I understand, of negotiations that occurred.
Around 4:30 a.m., the situation escalated.
There was an incident that prompted police to enter the unit, and then there were shots discharged. At this time, preliminary information indicates that it's 3 officers who discharged their firearms and struck the man.
The SIU now investigating the fatal shooting.
We're just collecting cartridge cases as evidence. I do know multiple shots, and the man was struck multiple times.
A sharp-edged weapon was recovered and a woman taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Many neighbors I spoke with said they didn't hear anything early this morning, but were shocked to learn about the situation, calling the street typically quiet and peaceful.
This neighborhood is good, very friendly neighborhood, and we don't have any issues with that, but now with this incident, it's kind of shocking.
There's a school not too far from here, an elementary school, and a park right block over, so I'm surprised.
The SIU is an independent government agency that investigates police interactions that result in death and serious injury.
There is body-worn camera footage. We haven't obtained that yet, but that will be helpful as far as our investigation goes.
A post-mortem exam is scheduled for Sunday. Karis Mapp, CTV News, Brantford.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is hailing his new trade deal with China as a landmark strategic partnership, one that sets Canada up for what he called the New World Order. It means more Chinese-made electric vehicles will soon be on Canadian roads, with more Canadian agriculture and food products on Chinese shelves. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
The stalls at Beijing's busy food markets will soon be filled with more Canadian lobster, seafood and canola products after Canada and China signed what the Prime Minister is calling a landmark trade agreement.
We're building a web of new connections with China to create transformative opportunities for Canadian workers, build more stability, more certainty and prosperity on both sides of the Pacific.
As part of that deal, China will remove all existing tariffs on Canadian canola meal, lobsters, crab and peas until at least the end of the year, and permanently reduce its tariff on canola seed to 15%. The tariffs on canola oil and pork will remain.
If you're a canola farmer, you're probably cautiously optimistic that something's going to come from this because we don't know the full details. But if you're a Canadian auto worker, this is devastating news because they know that this is going to undercut North American produced vehicles.
In exchange, Canada will let 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada, essentially tariff-free, increasing that amount every year after. By 2030, half of those EVs should cost a maximum of $35,000.
We need to look at this in the context of building. I mean, we're building a new part of our car industry. Building cars of the future in partnership.
The new trade pact that encourages Chinese investment in Canada's auto sector was announced hours after Carney shook hands with the Chinese president, closing the deal on a 5-pillar strategic partnership meant to tear down trade barriers and forge new ties in areas from finance to energy and tourism.
A healthy and stable China-Canada relationship serves the common interests of our two countries. It is also good for the peace, stability, and prosperity of the world.
The Prime Minister says concerns about foreign interference and human rights were brought up in his private meeting with Xi Jinping. He leaves Beijing tomorrow for Qatar, where he will once again try to drum up business investment. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Beijing, China.
Here at home, Premier Ford none too happy with today's announcement. He calls it lopsided and says the deal risks closing the door on Canadian automakers' access to the U.S. market. CTV's Siobhan Morris has that part of the story.
Outside Windsor's Stellantis plant, the deal with China gets mixed reviews.
I don't have an issue with it. We don't make a small car here in Canada. And we don't make a small car EV here in Canada, so I'm not sure how that has any bearing on this plant.
But there's real anxiety, too.
The worst thing is it opens the door and it's a slippery slope after this. It was a big mistake, in my opinion.
An opinion shared by the provincial government.
That is a horrific mistake.
The Premier calls the trade agreement lopsided, a mess.
It's going to hurt every single auto manufacturer, every single supply chain that has anything to do with the auto sector. This was not thought out properly. It wasn't consulted. It was a knee-jerk reaction as far as I'm concerned.
The opposition accuses the premier of not doing enough to muscle into the conversation.
What it means, I think, for our auto industry is the death knell. I'm very, very deeply concerned about it.
Some industry players are willing to wait and see.
This is one of those days that is the one step back of the two steps forward.
There are concerns about how allowing Chinese EVs into the Canadian market might factor into trade negotiations with the U.S. The union, representing thousands of Ontario auto workers, not calmed by the fact that Chinese cars would represent just 3% of the vehicles sold in Canada.
Of course it's going to grow. It's grown everywhere where China has had a foothold. Look at Europe, look at Brazil.
There are calls from the Premier, Unifor, and manufacturers for a comprehensive federal auto policy that supports jobs and resolves unanswered questions.
Like the electric vehicle mandate, amongst other things, that we have no clarity on, and it makes it very difficult for our members to plan moving forward.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Mixed messages out of the White House today in response to the new deal with China.
Well, I think it's problematic for Canada. There's a reason why we don't sell a lot of Chinese cars in the United States. It's because we have tariffs to protect American auto workers and Americans from those vehicles. The Canadians were trying to get some tariff relief on their own to get ag into there. I think in the long run, they're not going to like having made that deal. All that being said, American cars are still going to be sold into Canada. We have a huge market share there, and I think that the Canadians' dependence on the United States for their GDP, the United States is always going to have an outsized role in that economy.
Later, when President Trump was asked about the deal, he appeared to welcome it.
That's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
The president today also mused about slapping tariffs on countries that don't support his push to assert U.S. control over Greenland. Several European countries have said doing so by force would mean the end of NATO. Trump repeated his claim that the U.S. needs the Arctic territory for national security, but said the military alliance and Washington are talking. Sign up for the CTV Kitchener newsletter and stay in the know with local content from our newsroom right to your inbox every morning, including a look at the top stories, the forecast, and some must-see videos. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A Toronto Blue Jays fan favorite is moving on. Coming up, Bichette off to the Mets. CTV's Leanne Evans will join us to break down today's heartbreaking news about one of the team's key players.
I'm Krista Simpson. The University of Waterloo is sorting through thousands of applications with the help of its alumni and artificial intelligence. The pieces that determine who gets an offer of admission to some of its most competitive programs. That story is just ahead.
Well, warmer temperatures are expected for your Saturday before another deep freeze rolls in. I'll have that in your main weather as well as more from here at the Odd at Bell Let's Talk Night coming up a little later in the show. Stay with us.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
The University of Waterloo is getting help from some of its alumni as well as artificial intelligence as it goes through applications for some of its most competitive programs. CTV's Krista Simpson is here now to explain. Krista.
Tony, while grades remain the single most important factor when it comes to getting into one of these programs, there are so many students who will qualify that this secondary step is needed to help determine who actually will get an offer of admission. The winter semester at the University of Waterloo is in full swing, while behind the scenes, decisions are being made about who will be joining the school next, something that can be a particular challenge for certain programs.
The grades are very good, and there's a lot of students with the same grades, same average. So you need another layer to tell those students apart and make the selection.
That's where the admissions information form comes in. It involves 5 questions, asking applicants about a passion or strong interest, community involvement, experience reflection, goals for Waterloo, and outside the classroom. Following a pilot project last year, the university is recruiting alumni to read over and score the forms.
It's all depersonalized, so they don't see anything about the applicant, but they are trained and they apply a rubric. They score it.
Stacey Mahoney is one of those volunteers. She holds 2 degrees from UW and now works for the university, but does this on her own time.
It's that sense of how great the next cohort is that we're looking at, and how so many different vast experiences out there help to determine kind of our future students at the university.
This year, artificial intelligence will also be used to do a second review of the form. And if the 2 scores don't align, then a third human reader will be brought in. The results are added to the overall admissions score that ultimately determines which applicants are offered a space.
Very strongly, we'd say, this is not complicated. Just answer the questions genuinely. This is your chance to tell us more about yourself.
Exactly what weight the admissions information form gets in the overall admissions score isn't shared, but it's one of a few pieces.
So in engineering, they also have a Kira interview that students participate in. In many cases, it's optional, but most students do it. In math, we have some of the best outreach in math, computer science in the world. And so a lot of students write our contests, and if you do really well, that can factor in a positive way.
The form is required when applying for some of the university's most competitive programs in the faculties of math and engineering and 2 aviation programs. The university receives 25,000 to 30,000 applications across those programs. Mahoney has committed to going through at least 100 forms this year, but says it's a fulfilling experience.
Knowing that starting as an applicant leads to those people who are crossing the stage with their degrees, 4 or 5 years later, feeling a part of that process, it's part of the reason I love being a part of the university.
The university says about 500 alumni volunteers will help review the forms this year. Tony.
Krista Simpson reporting. Krista, thank you for that. A couple from the Mount Forest area is sharing their frustration about being stranded on one floor of their home for 4 days. As CTV's Spencer Turcott tells us, that's how long they say it took to get help with a broken stair lift, despite a promise of 365-day-a-year service.
98-year-old Mac and 89-year-old Shirley Love both benefit from their Acorn stair lift.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? Makes life
easier? It's a necessary item.
The pair have both had strokes and mobility challenges.
The product is really good. And we could not be here without a stair lift.
Without it, they don't have access to much of their home near Mount Forest.
Well, we went up to bed Friday night with it. And during the night, I had to get up and I went to come down and the stair lift wouldn't work.
Shirley says she made repeated calls to Acorn hoping they could send out a technician.
And I tried about every hour, waiting for someone to phone back.
Then panic began to set in.
I was almost beside myself. He hasn't had breakfast, he hasn't had his pills.
Shirley couldn't leave her husband on the second floor, so together they tried to make their way down the stairs.
He has neuropathy, so there's no feeling in his feet. The last thing I needed to do was fall, and then where are we?
They did eventually get down, but there was no getting back up.
He was able to sleep on this sofa here. It's not the best, but he was comfortable. And I slept over on the little love seat over there.
After all those years being together and sleeping on the couch, do you feel like a bachelor for a couple of years?
Yeah. You do feel alone. We've always slept together.
A day went by, and another, and still no word from Acorn. Frustrating for the couple who said Mac missed showers from the PSWs because he couldn't get back upstairs. They say the sale of the stair lift came with a promise of 365-day-a-year service, and they pay for the $1,500-a-year warranty for technical problems like this. A phone call eventually came indicating a technician could come on Tuesday, a long way off from when it first broke down on Friday.
The woman was very dismissive, like, We got all your messages. For someone who's dependent upon it, it's too long before you get some answer.
CTV News contacted Acorn to ask why there was such a delay. A representative responded saying they were working on a resolution.
They called this morning and they have offered to refund my money, and if I'm don't like the chairlift, that they would take it out free of charge. But it's not about the money. I'm just not happy with what happens when you have a problem.
So while they are back up and running, Mac and Shirley hope this prompts the company to respond faster when things break down and to be a little kinder when seniors call scared in search of answers. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Mount Forest.
Okay, live look outside now toward Uptown Waterloo from Midtown KW. This is through the lens of our tower camera, which is a little clearer today than it was yesterday after that major snowstorm, but flurries picking up again, some more snow likely. Ashley's got those details coming up in the forecast. Also coming up, the community of Listowel really gets cracking for Ontario's egg farmers, upping its game as a major player in the industry nationwide. We'll explain. Plus, when digging out turns from a time-consuming chore into a serious health risk. Back in a few minutes. Back we go to the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. That's where Ashley is tonight. Of course, January is the month where Bell, which is CTV's parent company, always has its initiative, Bell Let's Talk. And of course, that's all about mental health services and support and awareness. And Ashley, that's what the Rangers home game is putting a focus on tonight.
That's right, Tony. And as you can see, things are really starting to pick up here. The Saginaw Spirit and your Kitchener Rangers have taken to the ice. The crowd is starting to fill out here. And it's all about Bell Let's Talk, you know, keeping that conversation around social, mental health and then your social well-being. Now, what's important are some of the organizations that this program assists. And one of those is the Muslim Social Services of Waterloo Region. Earlier today, I caught up with their executive director to see how it directly impacts them. Take a look.
All right, Dua, let's talk about how Bell Let's Talk impacts your organization.
So Bell Let's Talk is a really important initiative because it brings national attention to mental health and also support community-based organizations like Muslim Social Services, where we provide culturally sensitive counseling services to Muslims and non-Muslims. Bell Let's Talk help us hire more professional, specialized counselors who speak different languages and who are from different cultures, because through our work, we saw how the healing process is faster when we match the client with the counselor or the psychotherapist who speak the same language and also who's from the same culture. And also it helps us reduce the waiting list, especially among young people. And also it helps us expand our counseling, the unique counseling that we provide in Kitchener-Waterloo to the township and other cities.
Very good. Okay, there you have it. First-hand impact and how Bell Let's Talk helps our community. Thank you, Dua.
Thank you.
All right, and now we've got our full weather forecast for you. Let's start with a yellow warning for snowfall up in the southern Georgian Bay region, close to Wyerton. You're looking at another 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. It's already started and will last through to tomorrow morning. It, of course, can cause reduced visibility. And in addition to all the snow we've already had, you might just want to take your time if you have to head out. Looking at our futurecast, this is the band of precipitation that's pushing those flurries through the region. Here in Waterloo region, we're looking at around 2 centimeters overnight tonight and around 2 centimeters into your Saturday. So not as much accumulation as we saw in the last 24 to 48 hours, but you know, after all of that snowfall, it's a little bit hard to have another couple centimeters. So just get out there and try and enjoy it. Right now we're sitting at -5 in Kitchener-Waterloo for temperature, but it is feeling closer to -12 with the wind chill. Overnight,
tonight, we're looking at a low of -3. As I mentioned, around 2 centimeters of snow is expected. Now, the good news is above seasonal temperatures expected tomorrow, a high of 1 degree. That is well above seasonal of this time of year, which, as you can see there, is normally -3. Back in 2015, it was -22 as an overnight low, so it could be a lot cooler. But the great thing is sun setting at 5:11 p.m. So we're getting a little bit more daylight every day. All right, looking at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo region. Sunday, you're going to also see flurries, and that temperature begins to drop again. We're getting into a bit of a freeze next week. -7 is a daytime high. By Monday, looking at a daytime high of just -11 and an overnight low of -18. Flurries continuing for your Tuesday and a high of just -13. Very cold indeed. Lanton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions for your weekend. Saturday's going to see a nice warm up of 0, but overnight lows dipping back down to -10. By Sunday, flurries continuing -6 as your daytime high. The sun, however, might make a sneak peek for Monday and Tuesday, a high of just -9 on Monday and -10 on Tuesday. In southern Georgian Bay, you're going to see additional flurries, as we mentioned at the top of the cast there, overnight tonight. You're looking at a potential 2 to 4 more centimeters of snow tomorrow on top of that. Sunday, flurries continuing a high of -5. Flurries for Monday, a high of -9. And by Tuesday, another high of -12. So it's going to continue to get cold here, but things are heating up in the rink for Bell Let's Talk Night. Lots of people are coming and enjoying. Around 1,200 hats will be given away to represent that conversation starter piece, Tony. And it's, again, breaking those walls, breaking that stigma, and starting conversations.
That's such an important conversation to be having. All right, Ashley Bacon live at the Odd. Thank you, Ash. We'll check in with you one more time. Okay, Ashley was talking about all of that snow, and of course, many people grabbed a shovel this week. Health experts cautioning, though, that the combination of cold temperatures and heavy snow can put real strain on the heart. CTV's Josh Morano explains.
For Jennifer Dare, the morning after a big snowfall means shovel in hand and knowing of the danger of lifting too much snow.
We're not doing it all at once. That's really important, and take your time and take breaks. Because it is a lot of work, and there are dangers if you overdo it.
Doctors say shoveling can increase the risk of heart problems, even for people who feel healthy.
At my age, you kind of think, you keep thinking you're young, that you can just power through things and do it, and we know you can't.
Just pounding as we speak, and that's good. I took the dog for a walk beforehand, and heart was going good with that, but nothing compared to this.
On the day before Valentine's Day in 2019, I had a heart attack, fairly mild, but nonetheless a heart attack.
City Councillor Jeff Leeper is hoping his story will remind residents to slow down when shoveling.
If I do have to shovel, I am using a smaller shovel. I'm lifting smaller loads, and to the extent that I can, I am pushing the snow around rather than lifting.
It is similar to running or walking or running up the stairs or walking carrying loads up the stairs.
The Ottawa Heart Institute says age doesn't matter. The activity, weight, and type of snow, size of shovel, and speed mixed with the cold air can lead to an attack, especially if the person has any underlying heart conditions.
Pull to push the snow.
And when it comes to shoveling, try to push the snow instead of lifting, and
try with using your arms, use your leg muscles to do the throw.
For Dare, it's about pacing the work and turning shoveling into something manageable.
We make it like a day event, so we're out a little bit at a time. Again, that keeps it being a healthy activity as opposed to a dangerous one.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
Great expectations for more Canadian farmers. Coming up, CTV's Scott Miller on the national significance of a new facility in the Listowel area. Millions of eggs are produced in Ontario each and every day. Many of them pass through a facility in Listowel, which is now considered the largest and most advanced egg grading plant in all of Canada. CTV's Scott Miller had a look inside.
Millions of Ontario eggs come through Grey Ridge Egg Farm's facility in Listowel every single day. 450,000 dozen per day to be exact.
Like the eggs that are graded here at this location, literally you can drive down 86 Highway and find farmers that produce eggs that are graded here. And you can go literally to the grocery store in Listowel or Wingham or wherever else and buy a Grey Ridge egg of cartons.
Ray was joined by over 200 Ontario egg producers getting their first look at a $35 million expansion and modernization that makes Grey Ridge's Listowel facility the largest and most advanced egg grading plant in all of Canada.
The new shell inspector on this that looks at the eggs and decides grade A eggs is brand new technology from MOBA, and it's state of the art, and it makes the machine much more operable because there's not as many moving parts, so cleaning and everything and sanitation is much easier.
The 60,000 square foot expansion means a lot less person-to-person handling of the eggs, with robots you'd see on auto assembly lines now moving flats of eggs from one machine to the next. Brookshaw says the expansion means Listowel's Grey Ridge facility can handle nearly 4 million dozen per week, up from 3 million dozen before the modernization.
It should demonstrate to everyone across the province and Canada that there is an ability to host big business in small towns.
For Ontario egg producers, some of them seeing this facility for the first time, they're in absolute awe of the technology being used here to get eggs from their farm to Ontario dinner tables.
When my parents started and my mom picked the eggs in these round cage baskets, and she washed them by hand and graded them with this little scale to where we are today, it's really, amazing.
For Grey Ridge Egg Farms, which was founded in Ridgetown in 1934, this expansion and modernization marks the single biggest investment in their Ontario business, which is music to Mark Van Ness's ears.
It definitely gives us a boost because we know they're investing $35 million into this. They're not going away.
That is the vision, is to be able to grow and make sure that you're always putting back into the facility, ensure the farmers have a good spot to take their eggs, and that you're giving the most quality to our consumers.
In Listowel, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Let's recap our top stories. CTV's Alexandra Hollick joining us in studio with the latest on that cleanup, which in many ways actually continues after that big snowstorm.
That's right, Tony. And while the street parking ban has now been lifted in Kitchener, it remains in place in Cambridge and Waterloo. And snow clearing crews and bylaw officers had a busy 48 hours. In Waterloo, they handed out 300 tickets since the snow event was declared yesterday. And crews have been out across the region at all hours of the day trying to remove the snow and ice. And with more snow on the way, it'll likely take even longer to clear the roads completely. A 33-year-old man is dead after he was shot by Brantford police during a disturbance call. Police were called to a domestic dispute at a home on Palomino Drive early this morning. They say they negotiated with the man for hours before entering the home and firing their weapons. A woman was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and Ontario's police watchdog is investigating the incident.
And checking out what's on our website, our digital team has some more stories up there, including one about a late-night joyride.
And that ended in charges for an 18-year-old driver, Tony. With all that snow, Guelph police say a car was seen spinning in circles in a parking lot with 2 people on sleds in tow. Police say a man was also riding around in the car's open trunk. The driver, an Oakville man, was charged with stunt driving and had his license suspended, while the vehicle was impounded for 14 days. For more information on the story, you can check it out on the CTV News app or visit our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
There was a lot to read over there. Okay, Alexandra, thank you. CTV's Alexandra Hollick joining us with our top stories. Well, a reminder to homeowners and residents to make sure that natural gas meters and appliance vents stay clear of snow and ice. Gas companies say failing to do so increases the risk of a carbon monoxide leak, reduced reliability of heating systems, and delayed access in the case of an emergency. Enbridge says ice and snow should only be removed by brush or hand. Just ahead, say it ain't so, Bo. The Jays shortstop on the go with a new deal to move stateside. Leanne's back in just a moment with the latest on a major move by a key player. Okay, so here is some big news today. Actually, let's set this up first. You'd be really hard-pressed to find a Toronto Blue Jays fan who doesn't mention Bichette as one of the key players in the team's incredible 2025 season and their World Series appearance. But tonight, the fan favorite is a Blue Jay no more. CTV's Leanne Evans following this story for us. Leanne, say it ain't so, say it ain't Bo. Actually, you know what? When this news dropped, it was like a thud in our newsroom. You could hear, almost feel the sadness in people who watch the Jays closely.
Yeah, I feel like we were all talking about it for a couple hours there earlier today, Tony, trying to make sense of everything. But bottom line, none of it's good news for Jays fans. Bichette reached an agreement on a $126 million three-year deal with the New York Mets. That includes opt-outs after the first and second seasons. The Jays' magical offseason coming to a screeching halt. Bichette is the second superstar to spurn the club in the past 24 hours. The news comes after the Blue Jays missed out on free agent Kyle Tucker, who signed a massive four-year, $260 million deal with the Dodgers. Now, Bichette is coming off a bounce-back campaign after struggling with injuries. The 27-year-old hit one of the biggest home runs in Jays franchise history in Game 7 of the World Series in November. Launched a 3-run shot off Shohei Ohtani. Despite playing with a knee injury in a nail-biter game, the Jays would go on to lose 5-4 in 11 innings. Of course, we all know how that one went. According to sources with MLB.com, Bichette had privately expressed concern about the physical impact of playing half of his games on artificial turf at the Rogers Center, which could have played into his ultimate decision. Regardless of Bichette's reasoning, the Jays are suddenly in a bit of panic mode in order to find another bat ahead of the 2026 season.
Make no mistake, the Blue Jays are worse today offensively than they were a day ago. Can Vladimir Guerrero Jr. be playoff version through most of the regular season? My concern, George Springer, can he be 80% of the guy he was last year at 36 years old? Addison Barger made a big leap from last year or 2 years ago with 7 home runs to 21 home runs this past season. Anthony Santander, can he be anything close to the guy he was in 2024 with Baltimore? And a player like Ernie Clement, who looks like he'll now be the full-time second baseman, can he be close to Bichette?
So with Bichette and Tucker off the table, where do the Jays go from here? Well, some baseball experts say the club's options in the free agency market may be limited, but there is another big name still on the board. That is Cody Bellinger. So Kyle Tucker is a Dodger, Bichette is a Met, and Cody Bellinger, well, might still be plan B for the Jays and maybe for both New York teams as well. We'll have to wait and see what will happen to the last remaining star-level free agent position player and who gets to land him, Tony?
Bellinger. Wow. I mean, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Mets, Yankees, Jays, who knows?
Yeah, after he was such a foe over the past season, particularly in the postseason. Okay, Leanne, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we've got more news in a moment. First, let's check in once again with Ashley.
Well, the cold and snowy weather hasn't deterred fans from showing up here for Bell Let's Talk Night at the Rangers game here at the Odd. What will tomorrow morning bring, though? I'll have that coming up after this. Spend your Friday night in with the E-Talk crew at 7 p.m., followed by The Big Bang Theory, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, Happy's Place at 9, Stumble at 9:30, and finish the night off with Boston Blue.
Tonight, Canada and China strike a deal.
We're building a web of new connections with China.
The range of reactions and potential pitfalls, plus how Donald Trump weighed in. We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News and Watch on Crave.
Alexandra Hollick is back with a look ahead to our next show tonight at 11:30. Alexandra.
Tony, our local OHL teams are hitting the ice tonight. As we know, the Kitchener Rangers host the Saginaw Spirit for Bell Let's Talk Night. The Guelph Storm take on the Sioux Greyhounds at the Sleeman Center. And in Brantford, the Bulldogs will face off against the Peterborough Petes. Puck drop at all 3 games is just a few minutes away, and we'll have the highlights along with more local news later at 11:30. Tony.
Alexandra, thank you for that. And speaking of the Odd, we'll head there one more time. Ashley Bacon in the nice warm environment bringing us the weather forecast tonight as this is Bell Let's Talk Night at the Rangers game, Ash.
That's right, Tony. Such an important night to talk about mental health and break down those barriers and the stigma within the community. And of course, the crowd is here in large numbers for tonight's game, and it's going to continue to be so. Let's take a quick look at what we're going to wake up to first. We are looking at flurries for your start in the morning, both on 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and 10 a.m. So the flurries will continue for the next few hours starting in the morning, and hopefully will taper off by the afternoon. But what's important tonight is that it's Bell Let's Talk night. We're talking about mental health, and of course, puck drop is just about to happen. And this is Ariel, and she's got something very important to say.
Let's go Rangers!
Woo! Let's go Rangers, Tony. So it's going to be a big night here. Rangers, a puck drop, like I said, happening in a couple of minutes. But it's starting already with the fun. Thank you, Ariel. Okay, Tony, have a great one.
Love it. Okay, Ashley, thank you so much. Go Rangers indeed, and let's have a great weekend. And thank you, Ashley. It's been a busy week weather-wise as well, keeping track of everything that we've, everything that's come our way. So let's sit back and relax and enjoy a Rangers game tonight. Okay, that does it for us tonight. Thank you so much for checking in. Our digital team brings you news anytime. That's over at ctvnewskitchener.ca. And once again, our next local news comes your way tonight at 11:30 with Alexandra Hollick. That's right after the CTV National News with Heather Butts at 11. Join me once again back here on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone, and good night.